साद्वैतम सावधूतम परिजन सहित कृष्ण चैतन्य श्री राधा कृष्ण बालाचरण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय पुतलेशं वेदांत स्वामिने नामने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणि प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यादि पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम 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 हरे हरे सर्वशास्त्रांच पीयूष सर्ववेद सत्कुल सर्वसिद्धांत रत्नांत सर्वलोकप्रद सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद् भागवत प्रभो कलिध्वांतोदितादित्य श्री कृष्ण परिवर्तित परमानंद पाठाय प्रेम वर्षक्षरादित्य सर्वदा सर्वसेव्य श्री कृष्ण नमस्ते मदेक बंधु मत्संग मद्गुरो मम महाधन मनस्तारक मद्भाग्य मदानंद नमस्ते असाधु साधुतादाय नतनीचोच्यताकर आनंद गदाचन्मा प्रेरणागत ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय okay we are in this cluster 3.25.21 let me read out 22 purport. A person in the renounced order of life, a sannyasi, is also called a sadhu because he renounces everything. His home, his comfort, his friends, his relatives, and his duties to friends and family. He renounces everything for the sake of the Supreme Personality of God. The sannyasi is generally in the renounced order of life, but his renunciation will be successful only when his energy is employed in the service of the Lord with great austerity. It's said here, therefore, Bhaktim Kurvanti Edritam. The person who seriously engages in the service of the Lord and is in the renounced order of life is a sadhu. The sadhu is one who has given up all responsibility to society, family, and worldly humanitarianism simply for the service of the Lord. As soon as he takes his birth in the world, a person has so many responsibilities and obligations to the public, to the demigods, to the great sages, to the general living beings, to his parents, to the family forefathers, and to many others. When he gives up all such obligations for the sake of the service of the Supreme Lord, he is not punished for such renunciation of obligation. But if for sense gratification a person renounces all such obligations, he is punished by the law of nature. 23. Madashraya. What? First of all, I read out what I had previously already read out. Yes.
Prabhu, from the purport, it looks like only a sannyasi is categorized as sadhu.
The sannyasi is expected to be a sadhu.
A sadhu is one who has given up all responsibility to society, family, and worldly humanity.
Yeah, generally a sadhu is a sannyasi only.
So this is in general sense.
Yeah. The others are trainees.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
23. Madashraya katham rishta shrinvanti kathayanti cha tapanti vidhastapa naitan mad gata chetasaha. Engage constantly in chanting and hearing about me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The sadhus do not suffer from material miseries because they are always filled with thoughts of my pastimes and activities. There are multifarious miseries in material existence, those pertaining to the body and mind, those imposed by other living entities, and those imposed by natural disturbances. Even the ones from body and mind are imposed on them. But a sadhu is not disturbed by such miserable conditions because his mind is always filled with Krishna consciousness, and thus he does not like to talk about anything but the activities of the Lord. In Sanskrit, sadhu means good. Sadbhave, sadhubhave cha. It means good. So a sadhu is a good person. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, that refers to a pure Vaishnava sannyasi. Ideally meant to be that. The other non-grihastha men, by the standard of Bhagavatam, are also expected to be like that. Maharaj Ambarish did not speak of anything but the pastimes of the Lord. Vachamsi Vaikuntha Gurana Varnane. 9.4.18, he engaged his words only in glorification of the Supreme Personality of God. Sadhus are always interested in hearing about the activities of the Lord or his devotees. Since they are filled with Krishna consciousness, they are forgetful of the material miseries. Ordinary conditioned souls, being forgetful of the activities of the Lord, are always full of anxieties and material tribulations. On the other hand, on the other hand, since the devotees always engage in the topics of the Lord, they are forgetful of the miseries of material existence. This is the test. If one is actually engaged in remembering the pastimes of the Lord, he will not be afflicted by the miseries of material existence. His consciousness will not be affected. His engagement in devotion service to Krishna will not be affected. 24. Te te sadhava sattvi sarvasanga vivarjita sangasteshvatate prarthya sangadosha harahite. O my mother, O virtuous lady, these are the qualities of great devotees who are free from all attachment. You must seek attachment to such holy men, for this counteracts the pernicious effects of material attachment. Pernicious, dangerous, contaminating effects of material attachment. Kapila Muni herein advises his mother Devahuti that if she wants to be free from material attachment, she should increase her attachment for the sadhus or devotees who are completely freed from all material attachment. In Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, verse 5, it is stated, who is qualified to enter into the kingdom of God? It is said there, Nirmana Moha Jita Sangha Dosha. So, notice this expression, Sangha Dosha. Here also we have the same expression, Sangha Dosha. So, when we associate with someone, we attain the defects of that person, the spiritual defects of that person. This refers to one who is completely freed from the puffed up condition of material possessiveness. That is Nirmana Moha. A person may be materially very rich, opulent, or respectable, but if he at all wants to transfer himself to the spiritual kingdom, back home, back to Godhead, then he has to be freed from the puffed up condition of material possessiveness, because that is a false position. More on Nirmana Moha. The word moha used here means the false understanding that one is rich or poor. In this material world, the conception that one is very rich or very poor, or any such consciousness in connection with material existence, is false, because his body itself is false or temporary. A pure soul who is prepared to be freed from this material entanglement must first of all be free from the association of the three modes of material nature. Three modes of nature. Our consciousness at the present moment is polluted because of association with the three modes of nature. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, the same principle is stated. It is advised, Jitasanga dosha. One should be freed from the contaminated association of the three modes of material nature. So, Sangha dosha ultimately means association of the three modes of material nature, which means associating with the three modes of material nature. Prabhupada often uses this expression, associating with the three modes of material nature, which means that allowing ourselves to be affected by Prakriti. Here also, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, this is confirmed. The pure devotee who is preparing to transfer himself to the spiritual kingdom is also freed from the association of the three modes of material nature. We have to seek the association of such devotees. For this reason, we have begun the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. There are many mercantile, scientific, or other associations in human society to develop a particular type of education or consciousness. But there is no association which helps one to get free from all material association. There is no gigantic, large-scale international movement dedicated to pure devotion service to Lord Krishna, which will help us get free from all material association. If anyone has reached the stage where he must become free from this material contamination, then he has to seek the association of devotees, wherein Krishna consciousness is exclusively cultured. One can thereby become free from all material association. Because a devotee is freed from all contaminated material association, he is not affected by the miseries of material existence. So there's a logical connection there. Karanam gunasangosya sadasad yoni janmasu. Repeatedly, Prabhupada refers to this verse. The cause for the living entity stuck in the cycle of birth and rebirth is his association with the modes of material nature. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan says, association with the modes of material nature comes about because we have a desire to enjoy matter. When we have a desire to enjoy matter, then we become contaminated by the three modes of material nature. If we do not have a desire to enjoy matter, then we are freed from this desire to, from this contamination of the three modes of material nature. Even though he appears to be in the material world, he is not affected by the miseries of the material world. How is it possible? There's a very good example in the activities of the cat. The cat carries her kittens in her mouth, and when she kills a rat, she also carries the booty in her mouth. Thus, both are carried in the mouth of the cat, but they are in different conditions. The kitten feels comfort in the mouth of the mother, whereas when the rat is carried in the mouth of the cat, the rat feels the blows of death. Similarly, those who are sadhavaha is the plural of sadhu, or devotees engaged in Krishna consciousness in the transcendental service of the Lord, do not feel the contamination of material miseries, whereas those who are not devotees in Krishna consciousness actually feel the miseries of material existence. So, until we come to the pure status of Krishna consciousness, we will feel the miseries of material existence. And from the technical point of view, we are not yet devotees. One should therefore give up the association of materialistic persons and seek the association of persons engaged in Krishna consciousness, and by such association, he will benefit in spiritual advancement. By their words and instructions, he will be able to cut off his attachment to material existence. Question.
Bro, you said by associating with sadhu we will be infected. And how is it so?
Will be infected? What is infected?
Will be infected with these qualities you
Will
mentioned.
be affected by his qualities. Infected refers to something negative. Will be, yes, Sangat Sanjayate Kama. When we submissively, respectfully associate with someone, we develop their attitudes and so on. That's all.
What do you mean by associating here? Simply taking hearing from him, or
ददाति प्रतिगृह्णाति गुह्यमाख्याति पृच्छति भुङ्क्ते भोजयते चैव षड्विधं प्रीति लक्षणम्. In this, dadati is the duty of the inferior devotee. Pratigrihnati is the duty of the superior devotee. Guhyam is the duty of the superior devotee. Prichhati is the duty of the inferior devotee. Bhungte is the duty of the superior devotee. Vojayati, that is the duty of the, that refers to the duty of the inferior devotee. These are 6 ways by which one associates. Another explanation for sadhu sangha is tadviddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnananas sattvadarshinaha. This is also given as an explanation of the meaning of satprasanga. This is what is called intimate association with the sadhu. Krishna is the supreme good, and those who are taken to pure devotion service to Lord Krishna in perfection are next to that. And those who are imperfect but who are pure in Krishna consciousness, they are next to that. Then are other devotees who are trying to become pure and perfect. So in that way, there's a gradation. Okay, let's move on. Sarartha Darshini. Sadhunam Lakshanamaha Chaturbhi. Now the characteristics of the sadhus are spelled out in 4 verses beginning from 21. Atra Tatastha Lakshanamaha Pratikshava iti. So initially he presents the marginal characteristics. Marginal characteristics are desirable characteristics. Swarupa Lakshana means essential characteristic. He spells out the marginal characteristics. That means these are the ones which are generally found also. Titikshavaha iti. Text 21 onwards. Shantaha. What is the anugraha? Anugraha. But where's my book? What is the correct reading? Just give me a minute. Let me just find. Shantaha. Achanchalaha. In the very nice. Shantaha. Anugraha. Correct. It is. Ugra means terrible. Anugraha. Anugraha means not terrible, not ferocious, peaceful. That means not of an irritating nature. We are all supposed to come to this point. Anugraha. Sadhavaha. Sadhavaha itself means saralaha. Simple, straightforward. Sadhun bhushayanti manayanti itite. Sadhu bhushana. Those who, and the sadhus themselves, they honor the sadhus, or rather, these qualities honor the sadhus. These are decorations for the sadhus. These are very dear to the sadhus. Yadva sadhavaiva bhushanani iva priya yesham te. Just as ordinary people like ornaments, sadhus like these. Swarupa lakshanama. Then the intrinsic features of the sadhus are brought out in text 22. Mahi iti. Anyadi padana. Where is Anya? Ananya. Is it Anyadi? Yes, Anyadi padanam. Sadrisha grahakatvat na vidyate anyaha aham iva aradhyaha. Ananyena bhavena bhaktim kurvanti yetridam indicates that these sadhus, they do not worship anyone. They do not worship anyone the way they worship me. Lord Kapila is speaking. In other words, no one else, Brahma, Rudra, and others, they become the object of such loving relationships with them. Yasya tena bhavena dasya sakhyadina. And they are related to the Supreme Lord in the form through dasya, sakhya, vatsalya, and madhurya. And they accept only the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu Tattva, as their Vishaya. Ateva ekamatra vishayatvat dridham. Therefore, they are staunch devotees of the Lord. Staunch indicates that they are exclusively fixed in devotional service to Lord Krishna or his plenary expansions. Mat krite, for my sake, they have renounced all the activities of Kali. Mat krite, mat praptyartham. For my sake means they desire to attain me. Sarvadharman parityajya ityadi madukte, because I have stated in Bhagavad Gita 18.66, abandon all dharma. Simply engage in devotional service activity. Tyakta karmanaha ye dharagara ityadav. In 9.4.65 also, the Lord will talk about those who give up everything. They give up their beloved wives, their homes, their children, their family, their various positions, just to exclusively serve the Supreme Personality of God. Katham tams, tyaktum utsahe. And the Lord himself will say that how can I become enthusiastic to give up such souls? Iti mad uktehe tyakta swajanaadyaha. So they give up even their relatives, they give up everyone, everything, just to engage in devotion service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Madashraya katham mrishta, shuddha, samayiki. Mrishta means delightful. Mrishta also means pure. The various topics concerning the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, are all pure. That means they are not products of Maya. Na etan madhata chetasaha tapanti. Now, what does this mean? Tapanti. They don't suffer from any material miseries. The material miseries do not afflict them. That's what it means. एतान् भक्तान् तापाः आध्यात्मिक आदयः न तपन्ति न व्यथयन्ति. आध्यात्मिक क्लेश, अधिदैविक क्लेश, अधिभौतिक क्लेश, they do not give pain to these devotees. एते तापैः न अभिभूयन्ते चेत् मद्गतचेतसः स्मरणदार्ढ्यवन्तः यया. न अभिभूयन्ते चेत्. Why is it चेत् there? Right. Why does that chet? Oh, okay. Now I understand what he's saying. He's saying if they are not overcome by the threefold miseries of material existence, then we should understand that their remembrance is firmly fixed in me. Their minds are firmly fixed in me. Sarvasanga vivarjitaha. Purushartha chatustaya asakti shunyaha. Sarvasanga vivarjitaha. In text 24 indicates that they have no attachment for any of the four Purusharthas. Actually, if somebody is not pursuing any of the four Purusharthas, very great souls. Very great souls. Almost inconceivable how somebody can be like that. Yes.
So the Sarupa Lakshana, as we read that it's devotion service to Vishnu Tattva alone. And in that sloka only, the other part, it comes that he has left everything to attain Lord. So are these two both the essential characteristic or only the first part, devotion service to Vishnu Tattva?
Or this text 22 and 23 together. 22, 23, I think 24 also. At least 22 and 23 certainly constitute the Swarupa Lakshana of the great souls whom we should take association, whose association we should accept.
But Prabhu, then this will not match with the Parinishthita devotees like the pure devotees who are resembling Parinishthita devotees, like Bhakti-vaibhava Thakur if we see, then how we'll understand the essential characteristic?
No. For Parinishtitas, it should be interpreted to mean that they are tolerating their family relationships for the time being. They also, at the right moment, they will immediately want to give up. They will also want to give up. Given the opportunity, they'll give up. Bhakti-vaibhava Thakur, and he was not a householder for whole life. Himself, the Chaitanya Shikshamrita and all is written when he was a Vanaprastha. And at some point, he accepted Paramahamsya. He accepted that also. So this is that at some point, at least in Raga Marga, in the pathway of spontaneous attraction to the service of Radha Krishna in Golaka Vrindavan. Then naturally they move in this direction. But for those who are seeking the service of the Lord in Vaikuntha, they also, even though they are said to be grihasthas, at some point they become vanaprasthas, which is natural for them. It's more natural for them.
So, but if it is essential characteristic or Sarup Lakshana, then one will not be able to identify such souls as being sadhus. Those in family life for the time being also. If it is Sarup Lakshana, if it is a part of Sarup Lakshana, giving up.
No, because he himself he says, Madgata Chetasaha, Ete Tapahina Abhibhuyante Chet Madgata Chetasah, Smarana Dhardhyavantaha Gyeyaha. If those who are engaged, those who seem to be fully engaged, even in the midst of family life, they're fully engaged in Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, and so on, at least the first 7 items. And such engagement is not at all affected by Adhyatmika Klesha, Adhidayogika Klesha, Adhibhautika Klesha. Then we should understand that they are very firm in their remembrance of the Supreme Lord, and in that way we'll understand that they are also engaged in bhakti with Ananya Bhava. This is should not be confused with Bhava Bhakti. Necessarily.
Yes, yes. Okay, bro. So if we take the verses from 22 to 24, we can understand.
Yeah, I think 22 23 are meant to be taken together.
24 also, bro.
24 is a suggestion, but the definition is spreading from 22 to 23 for Swarupa Lakshana. Even here, Matkrite Kyakta Karmanaha, for instance, the Ramanuja line, they will immediately interpret this as Sattvika Tyaga. Sattvika Tyaga means that internally one should be detached. It is what we call our Yukta Vairagya, that is Sattvika Tyaga. You accept only bare minimum, as much as required, in service to Lord Vishnu. Same thing. Laukiki, Vaidiki, Vapi, Kriya Kriyate Mune, Harisevana Iva, Sakarya, Bhakti Vikshata. Same principle. But followers of Srimad Bhagavatam will go one step further. They will say, no, that is only first step. The second step is you actually have to give it up. Okay, let's move on. On the pathway of raga, anyway, bhakti is intense. Then that Vairagya, Vidya, Bhakti, 3 features are there. So Bhakti is intense. Corresponding to that, the Vidya is also intense. They also know more. If you have more Bhakti, then you will have more Vidya and more Vairagya also. So therefore, it overflows in this way. Externally also, Vairagya comes in. Which is a matter of great surprise for in India. These things are matters of great surprise. How can somebody be so renounced that even his Deha Yatra is not taken care of in a regulated manner? The Goswamis were like that. So absorbed in chanting Hare Krishna, remembering the Lord, engaged in various scriptural research to prove, to explain the science of devotional service to Radha Krishna, not even eating. And they are not overcome by the miseries of material existence. Okay, another question.
In the nectar of instruction, in this shloka, Dadati Pratiganati, Prabhupada is explaining, Dadati means giving income to the devotees. So for the brahmacharis, what should be the Dadati? Because they don't earn.
No, they should give services. No. If you cannot give if you cannot engage in artha dhyan, you must give shram dhyan, shram dan. All these concepts are there anyway. You should give your endeavor, you should give your services. Okay, let's continue. 25. सतां प्रसंगान् मम वीर्य संविदो भवन्ति हृत्कर्ण रसायना कथा तज्जोषणादाश्वपवर्गवर्त्मनि श्रद्धा रतिर्भक्तिरनुक्रमिष्यति. In the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin. Cultivating. See, this is an expression Prabhupada often uses. We cultivate crops, which means we grow crops. Similarly, we are meant to cultivate Vairagya, Vidya, Bhakti. Of course, that Vairagya and Vidya are Bhakti Anukul Vairagya, Bhakti Anukul Vidya. Darshini. Sadhu Sankata eva Bhagavati Manaha Ratim Vahati iti atra kramamaha satamiti. It is from association with the sadhus that the mind becomes attracted to Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he spells out the sequence of events here. Satamiti. Sangha Prarthya iti Purvoktehe Prathamam Shraddha. So one should pray for such association. One should request such association. That was noted in the previous verse. From this, it is understood that first of all, there has to be Shraddha. Tataha satam prakrishtat sangat mama kathaha bhavanti. Tyadavo aprakrishtat sangat bhajanakriya matram natu kathaha. Oh, look at this. From well-developed or fine association or first-class association with the saints, then topics concerning me are discussed. That means because of first-class association with bona fide saintly authorities, topics regarding the Supreme Lord are discussed. So, from this it is understood that when one does not have such high-class association, then one engages only in bhajana kriya, natu kathaha, not in hearing about these various topics. Tataha, and then afterwards, prakrishtat sangat anartha nivrittikaha kathaha bhavanti. Then, through first-class association, one hears topics of the Supreme Lord which lead to anartha nivritti. Tataha, after that, taeva kathaha nishtham utpadayantyah. Those very topics about Lord Krishna, they themselves generate nishtha. Mama viryasya, man mahatmyasya, samvit samyak vedanam, yataha tatha bhuta bhavanti. And then they bring about knowledge, which means understanding and experience of my prowess, which means my glory, of Krishna's prowess, Krishna's glory. Tataha, after that, ruchim utpadayantyah, then they generate ruchi, taste. Hritkarna rasayanaha bhavanti, which is expressed here as Hritkarna rasayanaha, which are very pleasing to the heart and to the ear. Tataha, and then tasam kathanam joshanat. And then after, by the cultivation of, by repeatedly hearing such topics, pritya asvadanat, which means by relishing with affection those same topics, apavargaha vartmanyeva yasya tasmin, then on the pathway towards liberation, apavarga, bhagavati shraddha asaktihi, then one attains asakti, attachment. So here, notice the word asakti here, shraddha here. But actually, here, shraddha refers to the final limit of shraddha, which is asakti. So sometimes it is said that overall, you notice here, shraddha, ratir, bhaktir, anukramishiyati. The order is shraddha, then rati, then bhakti. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, we have sadhana, bhava, and prema. These are corresponding. Sadhana is simply Shraddha, simply development of various degrees of Shraddha. So Shraddha level 1 is that which we generally refer to as Shraddha. Sadhu Sangha is Shraddha level 2. So in that way, then Bhajana Kriya is Shraddha level 3. You can also consider, actually each of these is developing further. Bhajana Kriya is actually Sadhu Sangha level 2. So in that way, then Bhajana Kriya itself develops into Anartha Nivritti. You can say Anartha Nivritti is Bhajana Kriya level 2. Like that, each one keeps developing higher and higher. So one comes to the final limit. Who's this?
There is some group and then would you like to
First of all, I'll get rid of this. Then I'll deal with that false identity. Then one attains asakti. So in Vikriditam Rajavadhuvi, there also it says Shraddhanvita. But that Shraddha we should not necessarily, this is the very beginning, first level Shraddha. It actually can refer to, it is post Anartha Nivritti Shraddha, because here also we see that there is a sequence. The Katha brings about Anartha Nivritti. And we already know from Sarartha Darshini to Canto 2, the Vaishnavas should not neglect the pastimes of the Supreme Lord with his Maya potency, because they actually give us detachment. So, before Anartha Nivritti, that is why Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, until you cross Anartha Nivritti, don't discuss about Krishna's pastimes with his spiritual potencies. Discuss about Krishna's pastimes with his material potencies. Ratihi bhava, bhaktihi prema, anukramishiti, anukramena bhavishyati. So in this way, this is the sequence from Shraddha to Bhava Bhakti and then Prema Bhakti. In sequence. Samprati maya pravartyamana bhaktihi evam anukramena loke pracharishyati iti arthaha. So currently, Lord Kapila, he has a desire to present the development of devotional service in this manner. This is the sort of development that he is talking about. This is also quoted in Bhakti Rasamrita. Apavarga Vartmani has been interpreted by Vishnu Chakravarti as Lord Sri Krishna himself, because the path of liberation culminates in Lord Sri Krishna. The process of advancing in Krishna consciousness and devotional service is described here. The first point is that one must seek the association of persons who are Krishna conscious and who engage in devotional service. Without such an association, one cannot make advancement. Simply by theoretical knowledge or study, one cannot make any appreciable advancement. One must give up the association of materialistic persons and seek the association of devotees, because without the association of devotees, one cannot understand the activities of the Lord. Generally, people are convinced of the impersonal feature of the absolute truth. Because they do not associate with devotees, they cannot understand that the absolute truth can be a person and have personal activities. This is a very difficult subject matter. And unless one has personal understanding of the absolute truth, there's no meaning to devotion. Yes.
Bro, it is mentioned here, without such association, one cannot make advancement.
One cannot make appreciable advancement.
Yeah, simply by theoretical knowledge or study. So then why it is recommended to study Bhagavatam, Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya?
Because
Study.
to make it steady, even here, you notice that it is these topics of the Supreme Lord that through first class association, these topics of the Supreme Lord are heard. Strictly speaking, one may hear Harikatha before that also, but they will not lead to Anartha Nivritti. It is through first class association that one attains, one hears the message of Krishna, which leads us to anartha nivritti. So all of that has to be based on Srimad Bhagavatam. Otherwise, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidham Vina Ikantiki Harer Bhakti Utpata Eva Kalpate. So therefore, it is necessary, but it is not sufficient. It is sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, the entire process which makes it complete. We study the scriptures in order to obey the scriptures. Okay. Another question.
So does that mean that when we read Prabhupada's purport, that so will it be considered to be equal to associating with first class devotee like Prabhupada or not?
That's okay. That is our duty. We should do. Even when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, we are associating with Shukadeva Goswami. That is in the language of Prabhupada, this is all Vani Seva. But we also require, because we in Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, we require everything in a manifest form. We require to associate with more advanced devotees who are available to us within the range of our external sense perception. As much as possible.
But they are not available as usual.
That is always there. But when the opportunity comes, then we should take advantage of it. If we don't take advantage of it, Krishna will immediately say, I gave you the opportunity, you blew it up. So I'll give you a next opportunity after 4 years. That's all. And again, we blow it up, then again, next opportunity after 8 years or 10 years. So unless we are fixed in Krishna consciousness, we will not be alert now. It requires us to be alert. Okay, let's move on.
But
Service
Prabhu,
of dev-
for the neophyte, it takes time to fix up, no?
It's okay. Anyway, we are neophytes for several lifetimes. So what is the problem? If one wants to attain the perfection of sadhana siddhi and bhakti yoga in one lifetime, then one has to be alert. Okay, let's move on. Service or devotion cannot be offered to anything impersonal. Service must be offered to a person. Non-devotees cannot appreciate Krishna consciousness by reading the Srimad Bhagavatam or any other Vedic literature wherein the activities of the Lord are described. They think that these activities are fictional, manufactured stories, cock and bull stories. This is how they think. Even Srimad Bhagavatam. Because spiritual life is not explained to them in the proper mood, or they are not receptive, that's also there. There are people who have taken initiation and afterwards given up everything, including scriptures, faith, everything. They were regressed actually. Actually, when that Shadgur Bhakti Vinashyati, if you examine, then you regress actually. So from Bhajana Kriya, you fall down to Sadhu Sangha, then you fall down to Shraddha, then you fall down, down. Regress is also there. To understand the personal activities of the Lord, one has to seek the association of devotees, and by such association, when one contemplates and tries to understand the transcendental activities of the Lord, the path to liberation is open and is free. One who has firm faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes fixed, and his attraction for association with the Lord and the devotees increases. Very nice. Association with devotees means association with the Lord. The devotee who makes this association develops a consciousness for rendering service to the Lord. So the whole idea of engaging in sadhu sangha is to come to the point of bhajana kriya. If through sadhu sangha I do not develop the desire for bhajana kriya, something is wrong. Similarly, through bhajana kriya, if anartha nivritti does not happen, then something is wrong with that, with everything prior to that. So proper shraddha with proper bhajana kriya, sadhu sangha with proper bhajana kriya will lead to complete anartha nivritti. We see in Upadeshamrita also, first three verses, they deal with Shraddha. Next three verses deal with Sadhu Sattva. Next deals with Bhajana Kriya. So we do everything properly, then things will happen. But our problem is that we are not engaged in the preliminary activities correctly. And that becomes a very big problem. I'm telling you, we create wrong habits, then it takes decades to try to rectify it. Because now the habits, the bad habits are now given the label of acceptable Krishna consciousness. So then it becomes a problem. Then you'll have to say it is wrong. Then you'll have to irritate many others who have such bad habits also and who want to portray that actually it is all acceptable Krishna consciousness. So these things require some clarity. That is why we should study Bhagavad Gita and then study Srimad Bhagavatam. So we understand various grades of devotional service correctly. Yes. Mohan Raj.
Prabhuji, when you said that due to Sadbir Bhaktir Vinashyati, one regresses, he's falling down from whatever level he's on. So, like we also noticed that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said it is never destroyed whatever little devotional service is done. So,
No.
how?
Whatever pure devotional service one does, that is never destroyed.
So after doing pure devotional service, little, maybe 0.001%, if one does or if I does Sadbir Bhaktir Vinashyati, what will happen in that case?
Then it will be covered up. We will have to experience the consequences of having committed offenses or other forbidden activities. After which we will get the opportunity to resume the development of whatever pure devotion service we have executed. Krishna is very grateful. He will always give the opportunity.
Rupa Goswami said in Bhakti Rasamrita that by committing offenses, one, even if one has attained the taste of prasad, that also decreases if one commits offenses.
The offenses is the biggest problem actually. Offenses are the biggest problem. The effect of in Madhurya Kadambini we study that the effect of offenses goes all the way up to Bhava Bhakti. It goes for several years, sometimes it goes for lifetimes. If you want to make rapid progress, expect that the results will come in this lifetime itself. And it's quite terrible. Chitraketu became ugly Vritrasura. Very terrible. Okay, next question.
So, what are the bad habits that you are mentioning that we may cultivate and we have to be careful?
We don't come up to the standards that are presented in Upadeshamrita. Upadeshamrita says so many things now. We have to be controlled, disciplined in our life. Our speech has to be controlled. So many things are there. We don't follow these things and we simply say that just chant Hare Krishna 16 rounds, follow four regulative principles and just do whatever ISKCON authority tells you. Or any other, some institution outside ISKCON will say that institution authority, whatever he says you do, and you go back to God. Not like that. It's a process. Okay.
And so that pure devotional point you were saying that Lord protects them, pure devotees, when they do pure devotional service. So, what about the devotional service, the so-called devotional service we are doing now? What will happen to us?
That is why we are studying Bhagavatam now. So we understand the effect of impure devotional service, the effect of pure devotion. Everything. Bhagavatam is a complete exposition of the science of Hari Bhakti. So all of this we'll see. We'll see all these things.
So, for example, if I die now, so I did not become pure devotee. So then in my next life, am I going to take human life at least? And
Yeah, unless if one is unless one is very much fixed in devotional service in the dham and still he commits some great terrible offenses, then Krishna might just give you an animal body in next life, one lifetime summary punishment for all the offenses, and then at the end of that life, then go back to God.
so it is for whom that Sritimanam Simatam Gehe applies. Like whoever initiated, they will take the next human birth, or else any another rule is there.
Who will take birth in a nice Acharya family? You're asking.
Yes, yes. At least in a devotee family, like we say.
What is the devotee family? See, we are using confusing expressions. By devotee, what do you mean? By devotee, do you mean someone who's described in Bhagavatam, or do you
No,
mean just
means
member of?
at least I will get opportunity to take up the Krishna consciousness in next life.
That in Bhagavad Gita itself it comes. One who's engaged in the yoga practice and who fails after little endeavor, he will go to the heavenly planets. And those, after mature practice, if they fall down, then they are given birth in such Acharya families, exalted, exemplary families like Bhaktivinoda Thakur's family. That is some super birth.
But you are talking about the pure devotional service, or a pure
What?
devotees who may die may take they may take the life in a devotee family.
No, no. If one executes devotional service, first of all, if he's executing pure devotional service, when he dies, he will go back to he will go to the spiritual world. So, what is the problem about that? If one is executing Shuddha Bhakti and he dies, then he will go to Vaikuntha. If he's not executing Shuddha Bhakti, then all these discussions will come. So whether he comes through uh, Bhakti Mishra Karma, Karma Mishra Bhakti, and Kevala Bhakti, and then he goes up, or whether he comes from Bhakti Mishra Karma to Bhakti Mishra Jnana to Jnana Mishra Bhakti to Bhakti, that pathway, or whether he goes through Bhakti Mishra Karma to Bhakti Mishra Jnana to Bhakti Mishra Yoga to Yoga Mishra Bhakti, and then Bhakti. Ultimately, if you wherever you stop, you resume from that point. In summary, whether one has progressed from Gunibhuta Krishna Bhakti to Pradhanibhuta Krishna Bhakti to Kevala Krishna Bhakti. That consideration is there. Okay?
Prabhu, I am little confused. If one is doing pure devotional service, then where is the point comes that Lord will need to protect him again?
Correct. One who is executing pure devotional service is already protected by the Supreme Lord. He is not the person who is Suchi Nam Srimatam Gehe, Yoga Brashto Vijayate, because he is not Yoga Brashta.
Yeah, then who is the Yoga Brashta? Then Lord says here.
He's a Yoga Brashta, a person who is deviated from the pathway of spiritual progress.
And he is performing not pure devotional service.
Of course. The whole idea is to come to the point of pure Hari Bhakti. Whether you go through Karma, Jnana, Yoga, or go through Karma, Jnana, or directly from Karma, the goal is the same. It's just the different pathways by which you can come to that. For those who cannot handle the fastest and most demanding pathway, there's an intermediate pathway. For those who cannot even handle that, there's a slow pathway. That is the idea. Some or
So
other.
in general, whoever takes Krishna consciousness, if they are not succeed, then they will take again the human birth in their next family and next life.
Generally, yes. Yes, generally, yes. First
Although
of
he
all,
is not
any
performing.
first of all, even if one does not take to Krishna consciousness, if he's engaged in pious activities, then he will attain a human body, if not a superior body. That is a general principle. So this naturally will apply because you cannot take to bhakti yoga with sinful activities or offenses. So that condition is already fulfilled. Okay.
Okay, Prabhu.
Association with devotees means association with the Lord. The devotee who makes this association develops the consciousness for rendering service to the Lord, and then being situated in the transcendental position of devotion service, he gradually becomes perfect. 26. Bhaktya pumanjat viraga indriya drishta shrutan mad rachanan chintaya chittasya yatto grahane yoga yukto yatishyate richubhir yoga margai. Thus, consciously engaged in devotional service in the association of devotees, a person gains distaste for sense gratification both in this world and in the next by constantly thinking about the activities of the Lord. This process of Krishna consciousness is the easiest process of mystic power. When one is actually situated on that path of devotional service, he is able to control the mind. Rachananu Chintaya. Shuddham Bhakti Muktva Yogamaha Bhaktya iti. So, having explained the pathway of pure bhakti, now we describe the pathway of yoga. Drishtishrutat Aihika Amushmikat Mat Rajananam Mat Leelanam Anuchintaya Yoga Yuktaha San Chittasya Grahane Swavashikrite Yattaha Yatnavanapi Rijuvihi Bhakti Samvalitat Sugamaihi Yogamargaihi Samprati Mat Pravartayishyamanaihi Yatishyate Agre Janishyamanaha Puman Ityarthaha. The pathway of yoga is spelled out here. When one, through bhakti, comes to the point of develops distaste from sense enjoyment, there are two types of sense enjoyment. When one develops distaste for sense gratification, there are two types of distaste, you can say. Distaste for sense gratification available in this life, distaste for sense gratification available in the next life. So when one develops both types of such distaste, and that distaste comes about by constantly thinking about the various pastimes of the Supreme Lord. These are pastimes pertaining to creation, maintenance, dissolution. By continuously thinking in that manner, when one becomes fixed in yoga, where is that yoga yuktaha? One engages in yoga. Of course, this yoga is mixed with Vishnu Bhakti. That is there. Then he endeavors to bring the mind under control. This is considered very, very important in the yoga system, Ashtanga yoga system, to bring the mind under control. So, despite such endeavors, it becomes easy. The pathway of Ashtanga yoga becomes easy when it is mixed with Bhagavad Bhakti. It becomes easier. Remember that this is being discussed in Satya Yoga. And this pathway will be propagated by Lord Kapila. So this person is going to endeavor. He's going to endeavor means he's going to take birth and he's going to endeavor. The pathway of yoga takes more than one lifetime. That much at least we should understand. In all scriptures, people are encouraged to act in a pious way so that they can enjoy sense gratification not only in this life but also in the next. For example, one is promised promotion to the heavenly kingdom of higher planets by pious fruitive activities. But a devotee in the association of devotees prefers to contemplate the activities of the Lord, how he has created this universe, how he is maintaining it, how the creation dissolves, and how in the spiritual kingdom the Lord's pastimes are going on. Prabhupada is interpreting it to refer to Bhakti Yoga itself. That is also possible because through the process of devotion service itself, the benefits of Ashtanga Yoga can come about. So, for the one who is practicing Bhakti Yoga itself, then he brings about his, he makes sure that his mind is brought under control by Smaranam, Leela Smaranam. Leela Smarana does not always refer to remembering the Lord's Nitya Leelas. There are also Naimittika Leelas. These activities of the Lord's creation, maintenance, and annihilation. They are occasional pastimes of the Supreme Lord. There are full literatures describing these activities of the Lord, especially Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Samhita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. The sincere devotee who associates with devotees gets the opportunity to hear and contemplate the subject of the pastimes of the Lord, and the result is that he feels distaste for so-called happiness in this or that world, in heaven or on other planets. The devotees are simply interested in being transferred to the personal association of the Lord. They have no more attraction for temporary so-called happiness. That is the position of one who is Yoga Yukta. So this person is fixed in yoga. The word yoga itself can be interpreted simply to mean sadhana. Yoga also means upaya or sadhana. So he is fixed in his practices. One who is fixed in mystic power is not disturbed by the allurement of this world or that world. He is interested in the matters of spiritual understanding or the spiritual situation. So here mystic power also refers to being fixed in Bhakti Yoga itself. This sublime situation is very easily attained by the easiest process, Bhakti Yoga. Rijubir Yoga Margai. A very suitable word used here is Rijubi or very easy. There are different processes of Yoga Marga, attaining yoga perfection, but this process, devotion service, to the Lord is the easiest. If the pathway of Ashtanga Yoga itself becomes easy by mixing it with Hari Bhakti, then engagement in full-fledged Hari Bhakti itself would be the easiest. That is a simple logical conclusion. Not only is it the easiest process, but the result is sublime. Everyone should therefore take to this process of Krishna consciousness and reach the highest perfection of life. 27. Asevayayam prakritir gunanam jnanena vairagya vidrumbhitena yogena mayarpit tayacha bhaktya mam pratyekatmanam ivavarundhe. Thus, by not engaging in the service of the modes of material nature, but by developing Krishna consciousness, knowledge and renunciation, and by practicing yoga, in which the mind is always fixed in devotion service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what achieves my association in this very life, for I am the Supreme Personality, the Absolute Truth. This is the meaning of this verse as applied for one who has dedicated himself to Bhakti Yoga itself, Pradhani Bhuta Bhakti, or Kevala Bhakti even faster. Yoga Muktva Jnanamaha. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur now interprets it in terms of Jnana, which means Bhakti Mishra Jnana, which will develop into Jnana Mishra Bhakti and then Kevala Bhakti. Yoga Muktva Jnanamaha. Having described spiritual progress through the pathway of yoga, now he describes the pathway of Jnana. Asevaya iti. Prakritir gunanam vishayanam va aseva. Nishkama karma labhya. So, without serving the modes of material nature, that means when one engages in Nishkama karma, you cannot directly engage in the process of jnana. One needs to have engaged in the activities of the karma system. One needs to have participated in Varna Dharma, Ashrama Dharma, for men, for women, Stri Dharma. Otherwise, the soul will not be capable of accepting the rigor, renunciation of the jnana process. So when one comes to that point where he does not want to serve any of the sense objects, that means he's not interested in sense gratification. Sinless sense gratification, of course, he gave it up long time back. But sinful sense gratification he gave up long time back. But even sinless sense gratification he is not interested in now. Now he has come to a life of sannyas. Taya yad jnanam tena mam pratyekatmanam tatpadartham avarundhe prapnoti. Then he comes to the platform of jnana, and through that, he attains the Supreme Lord. Yogena iti yamadinam api jnana angatvat. The word yogena here, by practicing yoga, indicates that yama, niyama, asana, and so on, they are all considered to be elements within the jnana system. Bhaktiya iti bhaktim vinabhutasya jnanasya vaiphalyat. And bhaktiya here, with devotion service, with Krishna consciousness, all of this indicates that the process of jnana does not lead to success unless one mixes it with Krishna bhakti. So this is something that this and the previous verse are being explained by Lord Kapil here. Whereas the pathway of Bhakti Yoga, that is something which people in the future will be able to take up. That is his intention. Okay. When one engages in devotional service to the Lord in the 9 different kinds of Bhakti Yoga as enunciated in authoritative scriptures such as hearing, Shravanam, chanting, Kirtanam, remembering, offering worship, praying, and offering personal service, either in one of them, or 2, or 3, or all of them, he naturally has no opportunity to engage in the service of the 3 modes of material nature. Unless one has good engagements in spiritual service, it is not possible to get out of the attachment to material service. Those who are not devotees, therefore, are interested in so-called humanitarians or philanthropic work, such as opening a hospital or charitable institution. These are undoubtedly good works in the sense that they are pious activities, and their result is that the performer may get some opportunities for sense gratification either in this life or in the next. Devotion service, however, is beyond the boundary of sense gratification. It is completely spiritual activity. When one engages in the spiritual activities of devotion service, naturally it does not get any opportunity to engage in sense gratificatory activities. Krishna conscious activities are performed not blindly, but with perfect understanding of knowledge and renunciation. This kind of yoga practice, in which the mind is always fixed upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead in devotion, results in liberation in this very life. The person who performs such acts gets in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya, therefore, approved the process of hearing from realized devotees about the pastimes of the Lord. It does not matter to what category of this world the audience belongs. If one meekly and submissively hears about the activities of the Lord from a realized soul, he will be able to conquer the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is unconquerable by any other process. Hearing or associating with the devotees is the most important function for self-realization. So when one comes to the platform of knowledge, then he attains realization of the nature of the Supreme Being. 28. Devahuti Ravacha. Kachit tvai uchita bhakti, idrishi mama gochara, yaya padam te nirvanam, anjasan vashnava aham. On hearing this statement of the Lord, Devahuti inquired, what kind of devotion service is worth developing and practicing to help me easily and immediately attain the service of your lotus feet? Kachiditi, kasvid ityartaha. Which type of devotional service should I engage in? Tvayi uchita, tvayi ujyate ityartaha. Which is proper to attain you? Which is proper according to you? Na yujyamanaya. Where is that? Na yujyamanaya. Iti anena yujyamanaya bhaktehu utkarshya shravanat mama striya. Where is that? Is there a variant reading? Right. There seems to be a variant reading. Variant reading to what? Okay, he also recognizes another. Anjasa. Swashna iti pathe aham tu iti sambandha. So it is the last line which is different. Na yujyamanaya aham. Na yujyamanaya. Na yujyamanaya aham. Now something is missing there. Anyway, this requires to be seen. But he's saying that when I am a woman and when one engages in bhakti, then what kind of bhakti can a woman like me become capable of understanding? Kidrishi gochara gyatum kartum cha shakya iti artha. What kind of bhakti can I understand? What kind of bhakti can I actually engage in? Padam, Pat, Saranaravindam. That kind of devotional service by which I attain your lotus feet. Nirvana, Nirvritti Swarupa. Nirvana indicates that your lotus feet itself is factual happiness. Nirvana, Astam Gamane, Nirvritau, Gajamajjane, Sangame, Pyapavarge, Chame, Iti Medini. He quotes from a thesaurus named Medini that allows this meaning. Yadva, or else, Nirvanam, Nishkantakam, Yathasya. Nirvanam also means without any problems. So tell me about that pathway by which I can immediately and without any problems attain your lotus feet. Means I can attain eternal service to your lotus feet. Yatha tata anvashnavai prapsyami. Anjasa. Anjasa. This is also another problem. Anjasa to Ashnava. To Ashnava. So it could be possible. Iti pathe aham tu iti sambandha. Okay, it's a grammatical note. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that no one is barred from rendering service to the Lord. Whether one is a woman or a laborer or a merchant, if he engages himself in the devotion service of the Lord, he is promoted to the highest perfection state and goes back home, back to Godhead. The devotion service most suitable for different types of devotees is determined and fixed by the mercy of the spiritual master. 29. Yo yogo bhagavad bano nirvanatmam stvayo ditaha kidrisha katichangani yatastatva bodhanam. The mystic yoga system, as you have explained, aims at the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is meant for completely ending material existence. Please let me know the nature of that yoga system. How many ways are there by which one can understand in truth that sublime yoga? Bhagavad Banaha, aiming at the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bana actually means an arrow. And this entire pathway of spiritual progress aims at Bhagavan, at the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yadyapi tvat sammatayam bhaktaveva mama jigyasa chikircha cha tadapi jigyasuna nijamatam gyeyam paramatam hudaihi iti nityayogascha jnanam cha mama jigyasa jigyasyam ityaha yo yoga iti. Even though bhakti which is approved by you alone is the object of my inquiry and that is what I want to execute, still an inquisitive person should know about his own pathway, and the intelligent persons will want to know about other pathways. So therefore, I have a desire to know about these other pathways also. So I have a desire to know about the pathway of Jnana. Bhagavad Banaha. Tatra kshipta shara iva yo bhagavantam lakshi karoti. Just as when shoots an arrow, goes towards its goal. So like that, in that pathway also, Bhagavan is the object. Nirvanarthaha moksha prayojanakaha. And in that pathway, Nirvana will refer to moksha. Nirvanatmams You are the very embodiment of nirvana, of liberation. Tatha yataha tattvanam avabodhanam tat jnanam shikidrisham. And what kind of knowledge about the various tattvas does one need to have? That pathway which will lead to knowledge about the various tattvas. Tell me about that pathway. There are different kinds of mystic yoga systems aimed for different phases of the absolute truth. That means aimed for realizing the absolute truth in different phases. The Hatha Yoga system aims at the impersonal Brahman effulgence. Sorry, the Jnana Yoga system aims at the impersonal Brahman effulgence, and the Hatha Yoga system aims at the localized personal aspect, the Paramatma feature of the absolute truth, whereas Bhakti Yoga or devotional service, which is executed in 9 different ways, headed by hearing and chanting, aims at complete realization of the Supreme Lord. There are different methods of self-realization, but here Devahuti especially refers to the Bhakti Yoga system, which has already been primarily explained by the Lord. The different parts of the Bhakti Yoga system are hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, worshipping the Lord in the temple, accepting service to Him, carrying out His orders, making friendship with Him, and ultimately surrendering everything for the service of the Lord. The word Nirvana Atman is very significant in this verse. Unless one accepts the process of devotion service, one cannot end the continuation of material existence. Nirvana refers to cessation of material existence. As far as the Gyanis are concerned, they are interested in Jnana Yoga. But even if one elevates oneself after a great performance of austerity to the Brahman effulgence, there is a chance of falling down again to the material world. Therefore, Jnana Yoga does not actually end material existence. Similarly, regarding the Hatha Yoga system, which aims at the localized aspect of the Lord Paramatma, it has been experienced that many yogis, such as Vishwamitra, fall down. But Bhakti yogis, once approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead, never come back to this material world, as it is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Yadgatva nivartante, upon going, one never comes back. Tektva deham punarjanma naiti. After giving up this body, he never comes back again to accept a material body. Nirvana does not finish the existence of the soul. The soul is ever existing. Therefore, nirvana means to end one's material existence. And to end material existence means to go back home, back to God. Sometimes it is asked how the living entity falls down from the spiritual world to the material world. Here is the answer. Unless one is elevated to the Vaikuntha planets, directly in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is prone to fall down, either from the impersonal Brahman realization or from an ecstatic trance of meditation. Another word in this verse, Bhagavad Banaha, is very significant. Banaha means arrow. The Bhakti Yoga system is just like an arrow aiming up to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Bhakti Yoga system never urges one towards the impersonal Brahman effulgence or to the point of Paramatma realization. This Banaha or arrow is so sharp and swift that it goes directly to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, penetrating the regions of impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma. That is Bhagavad Banaha. It's right here. Okay, question.
Prabhuji, why intelligent person wants to know about others' processes? Is it not
For
wastage of
comparison,
time?
it is not a wastage of time, it is a comparison. It is for sake of comparative analysis.
But what
One should,
will
one should understand the pathway of pure bhakti. One should also understand the pathways of impure bhakti that lead to pure bhakti. Otherwise, you may be engaged in an impure version of bhakti yoga and imagine that you're engaging in a pure version, because each one will produce a different set of results. So from the results, you should be able to understand whether it is pure or impure. That is why these multiple branches of spiritual development in Bhakti Yoga have been detailed in Srimad Bhagavatam. In Bhagavad Gita, there are only some indications, but Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on Bhagavad Gita also gives some clear indication about them. But in Bhagavatam, we get a far much more comprehensive analysis.
And Prabhu, another question was regarding the last paragraph that it started with the fall down from spiritual world, and then the answer is that we like it. It's like saying I heard this statement before, that we are here because we were never there.
You cannot just get freaked out by looking at some particular statement and say, see, it is no fall down. Or look at something else and say, see, it is fall down. But to consolidated understanding of various statements. This is simply a simple explanation that unless one goes to the Vaikuntha planets and is engaged in direct service to the Supreme Lord, one cannot be in a position that one cannot naturally fall down. All other destinations, one will naturally fall down from all other destinations. That is the point. Naturally, one will not fall down from the spiritual world.
Yes.
Yes, there's another question here.
So, regarding this Vishwamitra fall down, so these yogis, although they meditate upon the Supreme Lord,
Yes, in all the
Paramatma,
pathways, in karma means Vishnu Bhakti Mishra karma. Jnana means Vishnu Bhakti Mishra jnana. Yoga means Vishnu Bhakti Mishra yoga. Then bhakti means Vishnu Bhakti only. Unless you are talking about Vishnu Bhakti, Karma Mishra Vishnu Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Vishnu Bhakti, Yoga Mishra Vishnu Bhakti. Then there is just Vishnu Bhakti, quote unquote Vishnu Bhakti only, which is what we refer to as Kevala Vishnu Bhakti. So, what is your question?
so how, although he is meditating upon the Supreme Lord in the form of Paramatma, still he fall down?
Because he engaged in Vishnu Bhakti Mishra Yoga, he could have engaged in Vishnu Bhakti only.
So then only there will be no chance of fall down.
If one does it properly, yes. If one actually carries out the instructions of Upadeshamrita and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and engages in sadhana bhakti fully, airtight engagement, then naturally Krishna will protect one. But on all pathways, there is a common requirement that you cannot be inattentive. One should always be alert. And Prabhupada always gives the example when one is shaving, one has to be alert. Slight inattention, then there will be bloodshed.
Not with the modern engineer, with the old blade.
Modern, I don't know. There will be some problem. I don't know what. Okay?
Yes, yes.
30. तदेतन्मे विजानीहि यथा हम मंदधीर हरे सुखम बुद्ध्येय दुर्बोधम योषा भवत अनुग्रहात्. My dear son, Kapila, after all, I am a woman. It is very difficult for me to understand the absolute truth because my intelligence is not very great. But if you will kindly explain it to me, even though I am not very intelligent, I can understand it and thereby feel transcendental happiness. Tat tasmad etat me mam vijanihi vidyapaya. So please explain this to me. Knowledge of the absolute truth is not very easily understood by ordinary, less intelligent men. But if the spiritual master is kind enough to the disciple, however unintelligent the disciple may be, then by the divine grace of the spiritual master, everything is revealed. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur therefore says, Yasya Prasada. By the mercy of the spiritual master, the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavad Prasadaha, is revealed. Devahuti requested her great son to be merciful towards her because she was a less intelligent woman and also his mother. By the grace of Kapila Deva, it was quite possible for her to understand the absolute truth, even though the subject matter is very difficult for ordinary persons, especially women. Yes.
So when the spiritual master shows his divine grace?
What is this when he shows his divine grace? A bona fide spiritual master is always showing his divine grace.
But he is showing his mercy. That means only showing the way.
Yes. What else you need him to do?
Just keep blessing and
What exactly we expect the teacher to do? The teacher will teach. The student has to sit for the exam. Okay, we'll stop with that. It's 9 o'clock. We'll resume from text 31. Vanshakal Putru Veshikut Vasum Dikhe Vachapatitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha.